Yeah, welcome everybody. Really cool to see so many people here. The room is full, quite packed. That's awesome. Because I think awesome is also what you can do with Bitcoin today on the web. It's much more than just stacking. Okay, it's a cool use case, but you can do a lot more. This is basically what I want to show. My name is Moritz. I'm working on Albi. My goal is basically, if you walk out here, then you know that you can do much more on Bitcoin than just stacking. It's super easy to build on Bitcoin or to receive payments. Everyone else can do that. But why did we at the very first place do what we do today is because when the internet was invented, the HTTP spec was written, and actually people thought, okay, there needs to be like also a native payment method integrated. But so far, it's actually missing. So it's still open, right? It's reserved for future use, and it's a gap. Although there have been actually quite some attempts to do that, like eCoins, for example, Millicent, PayPal, to mention here, but like no one really to that extent that we can say, okay, this is really, this can work out, this is future-proof. So the result was that we have actually a standardized way to transmit information over the internet. Like there is a layer of information here, but to pay online, we still have to transfer it through intermediaries, basically, and rely on them when we want to execute payments. It's not yet natively linked. And this ultimately leads to quite a lot of dependencies because you rely on someone else to do the payment for you, basically. You cannot do that for yourself. And this leads to more centralization because we need to agree on, for example, one platform to use. So we would all need to agree on using PayPal if we want to send money to each other. And as a consequence, there will be less competition, right? Because if we all need to agree on one platform, then there are not different companies in between that we can choose. And that's all then the reason why we have ultimately less options for monetization of our services, because yes, we will all be locked into certain services from companies, and there will be then less selection. So actually, we believe at Albi that if we bring these a native payment protocol to the web, we will see an explosion of innovation, and we will also see completely new use cases and ways to monetize on the web, and I will also show you some of that. And the missing link here is how do we get there is actually we need an open and also decentralized censorship-resistant payment protocol to do that, to instantly transfer value from A to B. And yes, that's Bitcoin basically. That's the magic internet money, and that's why we are building on Bitcoin. Because ultimately, Bitcoin will alter the way we communicate value today, just like the internet did with information, because Bitcoin itself consists of the currency layer, but also the network layer, right? So this protocol layer is decentralized, and this is global, and this is also sort of a prerequisite. And then there's the application layer. But unfortunately, today there's not really much happening on that. And the reason is it's still quite complex to build on Bitcoin. And what I mean is to interact with Bitcoin nodes, Lightning nodes. It's not that straightforward. Still a learning curve involved. And that's why it's also at Albi, we are really very much focusing on this enablement of consumers and developers to interact with the Lightning Network. And we believe that if we give developers the chance to use like common internet technology like JavaScript, HTML, CSS to be able to interact with this payment network, then we will see a lot of information, because suddenly every web developer also becomes a Bitcoin and Lightning Network developer. And as a consequence, we have a lot more people participating in the ecosystem, and there's a lot more economic activity happening. And two things how we achieve that at Albi is via a browser extension and via an API and SDKs for native payment integrations into mobile apps. And the browser extension takes a little bit the way of, yes, this is basically, if you want to connect your Bitcoin Lightning wallet to the internet to natively interact with applications there, then you can connect that to the browser extension. Today you can connect an Albi account, you connect also 15 individual like nodes and other wallets if you want to the browser extension. And through this interface, you can sort of natively interact with applications. And this removes a lot of friction out of making payments on the web, because you don't need to put out your phone, scan QR codes. It all works programmatically. So we very much lower the level of making payments on the internet. And you will have tons of Bitcoin apps on the other side that you can now access, Nostr apps, but also dozens of merchants who accept Bitcoin payments online, and it's a lot easier. So the question is actually now, how can you or how can everyone accept and earn some sats on the internet? And yes, there are ways, and there are actually ways that don't even require any line of code. For example, if you run a WordPress site, what you can do, there are several WordPress plugins already today, like the Bitcoin Lightning Publisher. It's also open source, and it gives you the chance to run paywalls, for example. And one example is this here. Basically, just drag and drop. You can add a paywall into the page, and then pay it with your Lightning wallet. You can either use a browser extension, or you can use a mobile phone. And yeah, people basically keep complaining that there are so many subscriptions in the publisher industry. But yeah, actually, technically, it's already possible to add paywalls if you want. Okay, so that's one way how to accept payments actually with zero codes. Now, it's getting a little bit harder, but not yet like super hard. What can you do with one line of HTML actually? Well, everyone who has a website can now also earn some sats and accept payments with this line here. All you need is a Lightning address, and that's it. And then you put that into the header here, header field, or as a meta tag in your website code, and then you are good to go. This is all you need, right? And there are already people out there who use that, like Kevin Rook. He's a podcaster, and he added his Lightning address into his website. In this case, the extension detects it automatically, and then you can send some sats to this person. Okay, let's get a little bit more sophisticated, but I still think like everyone can do that. And also, if you and the interesting part here actually is that like you don't need to handle any payment plugin, right? You can just put that into your website. No need to range around. No need to add any dependency to your website. Super straightforward. Well, but if you want to also tell the user and guide the user a bit, then with these two lines of HTML, you can then just add one of these widgets here. Quite nicely customizable. Also here, no need to run a Lightning node. All you need is a Lightning address, for example, and then you're good to go, right? You can style it however you want. Just add your name, add a color, where you want to send the payments or receive the payments, basically an image, and as an outcome, you get this and can get paid. So I think now slowly we are entering like the sphere of developers here, but with these 3 lines of JavaScript, you can like completely build your own Bitcoin app or Bitcoin Lightning app, and that's all you need. And this specification is called WebLN. It's an open specification built by a spec group, and the idea is how can wallets securely interact with applications in a like standardized way. Because imagine if you have to always implement a different interface for each wallet as an application developers, then it's quite a hassle for you, and WebLN makes it just seamless for you. And what you can do now is you can send payments, you can make an invoice to be able to receive payments, you can sign messages, and not yet in the spec, but already implemented in Albi, for example, list channels. So we go also the step out of like the worlds of pure payments here. And there are a bunch of wallets already supporting this standard, like Blue Wallet, Breeze, Blixt, for example, Fedi. Forgot to add their logo here, but they also have also implemented that, and also a bunch of apps that support it. Actually, that's also bolder fun for you who wonder, like, where can I use Lightning? Just go there. You will find awesome projects, and you can also use Lightning immediately. So what we see here is, I want to support a project. I want to tip this project, so I vote for it. I made my first payment. I created a budget. And then when I want to vote again, I make again a payment, and it works seamlessly. It's just with one click. There's no QR code scanning involved because of this budget, basically. And the other interesting thing about this use case is, just imagine if you receive sats versus likes. I think likes, especially on Twitter, also are quite inflationary used. Do they really have value, right? Compared to if you receive a payment in the form of sats, for example, then you can reuse that immediately somewhere else. So this is another great use case where people can now vote like with hard money, basically, and not just pure likes. Nakafoto is another app. It's really just a showcase that we've built, where we show 3 interesting things, especially for developers. This is WebLN to make easy payments on the web, like interact between a wallet and a website. This is LSAT to basically interact with an API, with a paid API. And then this is Lightning addresses. So what you can do here is you can upload images. If you want to sell your image, you just need a Lightning address to be able to receive the payment. And then if I want to buy an image, I can go on Nakafoto and purchase this image. But the actual payment does not go to the does not flow through the operator of this platform, but it's direct. It's peer-to-peer, forwarded, or not even forwarded. It's directly paid to the seller of this photo, and this is possible because of now we have the technology to bring all these things together, basically. And imagine if on Airbnb you would not pay Airbnb, but you would actually pay the real like landlord, for example. takes out a lot of control, but also a lot of complexity for the developer. Because imagine you are not in the money transmission business anymore. You can fully focus on like the UX, and you have like less constraints and less overhead, because you don't need to deal with payments. And yeah, it works like seamlessly. I want to, for example, buy this photo. I click on it. The browser extension pops up. I make a payment, and then I see some nice dogs in this case. Well, let's say that was all the case for really web apps, right? So this is quite nicely where you see a browser extension can serve as a bridge between your own wallet and the app, because it provides these easy interface. But what about mobile wallets? This is also where we, as a community, also slowly get better over time, mobile apps. And this is one of my favorite mobile apps here that integrated Lightning payments, and it's live commerce. So they allow you to tip a creator. For example, I can tip here Artistic Marius while he's painting, but I can also then buy the artwork that he has done with Bitcoin directly. And yeah, live commerce is huge in Asia, and it's also a great use case for Bitcoin, because now you can address every person globally, regardless of any currency conversions. You can receive payments from everyone, and for Gesso it was a lot easier just to integrate one payment method instead of like 10 different with Bitcoin, for example. And also here the artist receives the payment directly on his side, right? So this is a showcase where we bring Bitcoin payments to mobile apps. Still often the problem, however, what we see is that you have an additional, let's say, an account on a platform, right, that you need to top up first. But what if you forget at some point about this deposit, or you want to move away? Then yeah, your funds are there, right? But what if I actually can bring my own wallet and connect it to the app? And I think this is something where we are going to head towards to, because a lot of Bitcoin payments, Lightning payments, will actually happen directly in apps, and therefore we need technology to enable that. And one way to do that is called Nostr Wallet Connect, and this is how it looks like. For example, if you bring also payments to social media apps through this technology, you can link wallets, so you don't have to go out of the app, make the payment outside the app, but you can make the payment directly within the application. And again, we are building here on open standards, right? I told you about WebLN, I told you about Nostr. I'm going to tell you about Nostr Wallet Connect. This is an open standard. This is not controlled by like one entity or so. There are several wallets who are already implementing it. There are several apps who are already implementing it. And this is also why something like this will ultimately gain adoption, because there's no one who owns that. And the interesting part, so with this Nostr Wallet Connect, yes, what you can do is you can natively send payments in applications. You can receive payments in applications. You can even show balances there. So you will have quite a nice mix of new app interfaces that you can now build, because just connect, imagine in the future, for example, maybe you even can connect your non-custodial wallet to a Nostr app, for example. because of this technology, and you can seamlessly switch between apps, but always spend just out of one account. And if you don't want it anymore, just unplug it and go to the next app and plug it in again. I think that's a big win for the user experience, because, and also for developers, they don't have to like build up the trust and convince users to deposit funds first, but let the users decide to bring their own wallet. There was now a lot of payments, but actually you can do a lot more, or a little bit more than just payments. For the ones who think about like fancy EVM use cases, yes, we are step by step getting there. One idea that we implemented was, for example, showing, requesting the channel from a Lightning node through the WebLN interface here, so that you can, for example, list all the different channels that you have. And we also built this app called Liqui Mercado, where we now enable basically web apps to build liquidity marketplaces for Lightning, where we enable web apps to allow or to build like node interfaces, because they can in a very detailed way get information from the Lightning node and present it. Previously, you had to install something on your node, but now what you can do is you can just go to such a website, connect your Lightning node through a bridge like a browser extension like Albi, and then you can, for example, here, what I do, I'm now opening up a channel. I need some more Bitcoin, so I open it up with Kraken, and I can do that just on the web. And this gives, especially for developers, a very, very nice tool set, because onboarding users to a web app is a lot easier than trying to be installed on a node directly. So the channel that I, for example, opened, I have to check here mempool, and it says, okay, it's the payment is still pending for confirmation. But yeah, it works basically. Yeah, so do you want to know more? We've talked quite some about some use cases about for consumers, but also for developers. If you are a user and you wonder what you can do, get your first experience in Lightning, there is a website like getarbi.com/discover or bolt.fun, for example, where we list a bunch of apps that you can already use the Lightning network. So there are things like podcasting. You can create your own AI agent based on open source technology. You can go to Stacker News to read the latest news about Bitcoin, or stream music. Right? There are literally no borders or no use cases that you cannot do on Bitcoin. And if you are developers, we've created this site here, getarbi.com. Developer is basically a developer account where we summarize all the open source tooling that we built for developers and helpers and libraries to build your first Lightning application. If you want, you can do that with your own Lightning node, but you don't have to do it anymore. All you need is just a Lightning address often, and then all I can say is just build on Bitcoin. It's fun, it's easy, and Lightning works. Thank you. And I guess we have a lot of time for questions now.
Yeah, hi Moritz. I have a question in the NPO and NGO community. Recurring donations are a thing in the fiat standard. So hey, pay me $5 every week on the website, or pay me $15 every month, and it automatically withdraws after a signing up thing. Is that possible with Lightning nowadays, or do we have to wait for Bolt 12-ish something?
Yeah, Bolt 12 would solve it, I guess. But it is actually also possible today. There is currently a spec that is being worked on. I mentioned Nostr Wallet Connect. It's a mechanism where we use actually Nostr, not just for its social media use case, but really the technology of relays and signing messages is used in this case to transfer the information that we need for subscription payments. So in this case, for example, I could request an invoice from the app that is then paid by the user, and then I can simulate subscription payments, basically. So it will work, and I'm sure we will also see that soon, for example, for Nostr relays in the very first case. It will come. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Moritz. It was very interesting to listening to you. From what I see, and I might be mistaken, it looks like you guys are a startup. And if that's the case, how do you make money? Because it didn't look like you were charging anything for the transactions, right?
No, we don't right now. It's a passion project, but yes, it's a serious passion project. So, there are for some certain transactions we are charging something. So, for example, if you have a cold Bitcoin wallet where your funds are very, very secure and you want to actually use them, then you transfer them to Albi. In this case, there's a swap mechanism involved that costs a little bit more than a normal Lightning transaction. And this is one way that we are going to, or that we are already monetizing now the service.
Yep.
Yeah, so the let's say the most self-sovereign way is really, as you say, you have your Umbrel node running at home, for example. Then you use Nostr Wallet Connect to connect to an app and make the native payments. Yes, that's one way. On the other spectrum is the most UX-friendly way is use a custodial wallet like Albi or others out there that, like Wallet of Satoshi, for example, that provide you with such an address. You get it, and then you can do whatever you want. Plug it in on Twitter, on YouTube, or in such a payment plugin that I've shown you. And then there are some ways in between, and this is very cool because this is quite innovative what's happening here. There's also ideas around non-custodial Lightning addresses, for example, that are currently being worked on, and there are services popping up. So that try to fill this gap between a self-sovereign but a little bit clunky way and a not self-sovereign but nice UX ways. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's really like these two sides and something in between. It's up to you. Like either just an email address and then you have an account like on Albi, and then you have also your Lightning address, or you invest a little bit in hardware.
Another question here about the finance. You said that websites don't have to be a money transmitter anymore. The customer can pay directly to the end user. But then sometimes they want to be in the money flow because they want to take a percentage, a cut. So I was wondering how those platforms, how you think they could make money then if it's all peer-to-peer and they're no longer able to take a percentage.
One example is this Damos app. Oh, sorry. They integrated these payments via this Nostr Wallet Connect standard, so I can make a payment directly in there. in this very moment, they are owning the user interface basically. So it's up to them what they present to the user. They could, for example, present them 2 invoices, right? One invoice that goes then, or the payment then goes directly to the other side, to the supplier of the information, and the second invoice is for the payment to the app operator. And this is how they do it, because they say they let you configure how much you pay them in percent, and the other part, the main part, then goes directly to the other side. And in this case, you are not in between, right? It's just a different payment.
I have a question regarding scaling Lightning. So basically, if we believe in a Bitcoin future and want to have 1 billion users or even more than that, how do you think we can do it non-custodial, in a non-custodial way? Because whenever I ask this question, it seems to Bitcoiner don't have an answer to this and don't want to. I mean, I'm Bitcoiner myself, but I just think that non-custodial should be the future in a way, or at least in many cases.
Yes, and I think like at least within our team, we all share that, and with our open like source contributor community, that's we also believe in that. But it's also not something that we can switch on, right? This is something that it's more like a process to work towards. We need to come up with concepts and new solutions, and maybe also innovations in terms of technology. And there's like, and it's happening actually on different like different levels. Implementations get better, like more efficient to open channels, for example, but also just on a pure concept level. Why can we not just, like, for example, start, okay, let's say up to a certain amount it's custodial, and over that it's non-custodial. And this would already take out a lot of pressure of onboarding people who just want to try out some payments. They can do that in a, let's say, more protected way, but really heavy users get their freedom and self-sovereignty with a non-custodial wallet. And I think we can do that if we keep working on that.
Do you believe there's a chance that the base layer is going to be improved or changed in a way that it will make it possible to scale globally? Maybe something like drive chains or...
Yeah, this could be. I don't know so much about drive chains to be able to talk about that. But yeah, I believe very much in continuous innovation here.
Thanks.
Hmm?
Sorry.
We don't do routing.
Okay.
Yeah, so we only like serve our users. Yeah. Yeah. So if you have any questions about like building on Lightning or just using Lightning, this is my email address. You can reach out to me anytime. I'm also around. If you have questions, just come by.